and he is one of the world leaders in how you can achieve the independence, financial independence that you want. Now, he doesn't do this just in theory. He does it practically. He's titled this, How to Be a Perpetual Traveler on Bitcoin. He uses Bitcoin, and yes, he uses other cryptocurrencies to travel around the world using a credit card that never runs out, he says. So this is something that's good. I can say this. I've been watching him and his wife as they run around the planet, as they create wealth, create good for many people in many places around the planet, and you are in for a treat. Get your pen and paper out and ready to go. Get your note-taking device ready to go, and join me in welcoming my friend and soon-to-be your friend, Joby Weeks.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me all right? Is the mic on? It might be on. Yeah, it's on.
It's on.
Perfect. Thanks, Terry. Hi, everybody. Hi. Welcome to Nexus. I don't know how many of you just caught the last panel we were on. Who was there? Anybody there? Yeah, okay, you guys are there. Cool. Well, I'm going to continue on that discussion, and we'll see if some people have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. I started like everybody else, I didn't know anything. I went to public school. I was told I needed to get good grades, so I could get into good college, so I could get good grades, so that I could, get into a good graduate school, so I could get good grades, right? And then they let you out, and then they tell you, failing is bad, but then once you're in real life, failing is good, right? But so many of us are so afraid to take risks after so many years of kind of propaganda and indoctrination on don't take risks, don't fail, get good grades, don't ask questions, regurgitate what you're told. It's what we're told, not how to think, right? So I was fortunate enough, though, to have a father that was an economics teacher and a history teacher, right? And so after school, he'd give me extra homework on top of the homework because he was noticing that I was getting all my homework done while still in class, and I'd come home and all I'd want to do is play sports or video games. And so he would make me read things like Atlas Shrugged when I was in 8th grade, and other books to Ludwig von Mises and Hayek and Friedman and like so many awesome books about how to win friends and influence people, how Think and Grow Rich, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant, and Rich Dad's Guide to Investing, and all these books that kind of made it so I was psychologically unemployable. And, I don't know how many of you guys are psychologically unemployable, but I come out all this stuff, and then they're like, all right, profits are better than wages, right? That's what they would always tell me. And so I was just indoctrinated in this fact. So it becomes so easy to me, and I forget where a lot of us start because a lot of people didn't have parents like I did. My parents were awesome. So coming along, I was always starting businesses in high school, and I made my first $1 million by the time I was 19 years old. I decided I was going to skip college and go straight to traveling around the world. And so that's basically what I did for 8 years. We set up a wellness company, which was fun. It took me to 100 countries. We set up offices in Tokyo and Sydney and London and Korea and Taiwan and Hong Kong and South Africa. And which, by the way, is why I like Bitcoin so much, because when we were doing this business, we were selling these wellness products. These guys in Canada wanted to pay with loonies, and they'd refer their friend who would play with yens and euros, and then their friends are paying in pounds and dollars, right? And so we're having to calculate all the money coming in. We're trying to trade it into like Forex exchange, to turn it in, because these guys, we got an affiliate program, so we had to pay out commissions in different currencies too. So we're bringing money in this way and paying out commissions that way, and we were losing like $1 million a year just on the Forex exchange. When I heard about Bitcoin and how we could just pump Bitcoin out to everyone everywhere, it's borderless, and we don't have to get screwed by the banks anymore. It got me really excited. But so that's kind of what my why was and how I kind of picked up how Bitcoin worked. Which I didn't really understand for years, actually. It's kind of like our friend Peter. When they told me about Bitcoin, no one explained what backed Bitcoin. I thought it was just digits on a computer. Like, what's the difference between Bitcoin and Federal Reserve notes? They're not backed by anything, right? And I didn't understand. I was into gold and silver. I was the regional currency officer for Colorado for the Liberty Dollar after I read Ed Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, and then the Liberty Dollar solution to the Federal Reserve. I got really into gold and silver and trying to get minting money and signing up all these businesses to accept. We had about 20,000 merchants that were accepting gold and silver for their goods and services at the peak. We made the Ron Paul coins, do you guys remember the Ron Paul coins back then? And then do you remember how they came and stole all the Ron Paul coins from us? Yeah, FBI came in and took $5 million of gold, silver, platinum, and copper Ron Paul coins from us during the 2008 run, which got me really upset. But I thought, all right, we're going to change this. I learned how politics worked, trying to, be friends with Ron Paul. You can't be friends with Ron Paul unless you produce something for Ron Paul. So how can I help Ron? All right, you want me to be a committee chairperson? Sure, I'll go knock door to door and get all my Democrat friends to turn Republicans so they can vote for me. All right, then I got to be a district captain. Okay. And then on to the county assembly. And then to get elected to the state convention. And then on to become a national delegate. So I make it to St. Paul, Minneapolis, for the convention as a national delegate. I'm like, man, I've been sweating away Ron. We did the Ron Paul limo and helped with the Ron Paul blimp and all these types of things. And he grabbed me aside and he said, you need to start focusing on things at the local level. And so I was like, okay, we'll do that. And so kind of the progress happened where I was like, well, barter networks, we can get everyone to stop using the banks. And then we had this idea because nobody seemed to want to spend gold and silver. They were just keeping it. It's Gresham's law, right? Good money chases out bad money. So if you have good money, gold and silver, you put that in your safe or you bury it in your backyard, you save it. And you spend the hot potato money that loses value. I mean, you're an idiot if you keep dollars. Right? If you're saving dollars, you're dumb because dollars lose value every single day. You don't want to hold dollars. You want to spend dollars. Otherwise, it's hot potato money, right? It's a game of musical chairs. So for me, I was like, okay, let's try, because somebody came up to me and said, time is money. Have you guys ever heard this saying, time is money? So time is money. It is true. It's a commodity that we control. And I thought, well, this would be a good idea. We could issue our own currency interest-free so that we don't have to be debt slaves to the banking cartel. Yay! So we started making money called mountain hours. And then it started replicating into mile high hours and island hours and aloha hours. And the idea being, time is yours. You can create a 2-hour note, a 1-hour note, a half-hour note, spend this currency around your local area and start moving money. And we had more success with that in the first 6 months than I had the previous 5 years of trying to get people to spend gold and silver. And then Bitcoin came out. But I was so into this project that I couldn't hear Bitcoin. And I wish I would have paid better attention to it. And that's one of the only regrets I have, because my friend that kept on saying, you got to look at Bitcoin, you got to look at Bitcoin, you got to look at Bitcoin. I finally, just to get him to shut up, I was like, fine. Here's $200. How do I get Bitcoin? And he's like, well, you have to go down to CVS and you got to give them the cash, and they give you this card called a green dot card. And I'm like, what's a green dot card? I never heard of this thing. And so they were like, yeah, you get the green dot card and you got to go download this thing called Tor, which gets you to the dark web. And I'm like, oh, the dark web? So I get the Tor. And like, there's this website called the Silk Road. You have to get on the Silk Road. Well, how do I find the Silk Road? What's in the dark web? On this Tor thing. Well, where's the link? And they're like, well, you got to go to Wikipedia to find the Silk Road link, to get to the Tor, to get to the dark web, to create an account on the Silk Road, to then find some sketchy dude selling Bitcoin, right? It was weird, man. It was a lot harder to get Bitcoin back then. And so I find this guy. He's got like 5-star rating, kind of like eBay. You know how you can rate people and stuff. So I get this Bitcoin finally. Now I'm like, well, I did my job. I got the Bitcoin. What do I want to do? Nothing. I logged out. Didn't care. Back to my project. Well, about a year later, I'm scrolling through Facebook, and all of a sudden I see a video on Bitcoin. But it's not just any video. It's a video that actually explains what backs Bitcoin. The blockchain is what gives Bitcoin value. And in the video, the guy explained, look, there's something called Napster. We all remember Napster. We could download music and movies from Napster. But after a while, it got so big and popular, the government came in, shut it down because of copyright infringements. No more Napster, right? So then somebody created something called the BitTorrent network. What's this? This is a software people run on their computers that allows people to file share. So if you run the software, you can go to things like Pirate Bay or Views or BT Junkie, and you can download any music or any movies you want, and they can't stop it because it's not a centralized location. So even today now, with the BitTorrent software, you can file share and download anything you want, and the government around the world cannot stop it because it's a distributed network of millions and millions of computers around the world. Well, Bitcoin is the currency that runs on the BitTorrent network. Ding! That's what got me is, oh, I get it. Distributed network, millions of computers around the world. They run this special software that tracks all the Bitcoin transactions and secures the blockchain. I get it. It solves the double spend problem that if you ever study about the problems with moving assets around the internet, there was always the issue of the double spend. If you ever read Satoshi's white paper, which I no longer have a copy anymore because I gave it to Peter Schiff, hopefully he reads it, it talks about the double spend problem, right? So I got really excited. I logged into my Bitcoin wallet, and I took a step back. And my $200, at the time I bought 250 Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was at 85 cents a Bitcoin. So my 250 Bitcoin is now worth about 50 grand. And I was like, how can this be? So I called Stephanie in, and look at this, Steph. And so we went on YouTube, and we spent all day, like 5 hours, watching YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video, just learning the implications of the blockchain. So what I learned is that a Bitcoin can be divisible into 100 million bits. And then I'll get to the point of how I'm now able to travel all around the world, because I know that's what you guys want to know. But the thing for me is understanding the implications of what this is. You can take 100 million bits of a Bitcoin. Each bit is called a Satoshi, right? And you can program that to be anything of value. It can represent titles to automobiles or real estate or diamonds or gold or votes in elections, barrels of oil, shipping containers, whatever you can think of, sneakers. Anything of value can now be digitized and tokenized, put up on the blockchain, and transacted, can be sent across the internet without having to go through a trusted third party. This is an important thing. There's never been time in human history we've been able to send value electronically across the internet without having to go through a trusted third party. We always have to go through the banks to send wires or clear checks or Venmo or PayPal or Western Union, MoneyGram. And those guys that stand in the middle charge lots of fees, and they got the skyscrapers in all the major cities. If you go around the world, you see every major city in the world, the tallest buildings in the world are always the banks, right? It's an $8 trillion a day business. Now, oil does $1 trillion a year. Pharmaceuticals do $1 trillion a year. These banks do $8 trillion a day. With Bitcoin, we eliminate the need for an $8 trillion a day business. Now you understand why why Satoshi Nakamoto doesn't want anyone to know who he is? You're threatening an $8 trillion a day business? Something that people get killed for a lot less. Like, think about it. Like, the banking cartel has been financing both sides of wars and trying to conquer the world for 500 years. And here we are. It's like the Renaissance with the printing press. It's like Dark Ages, Dark Ages, Dark Ages. Boom! It's the printing press. It's just like that with the blockchain. And so that's what got me so excited. And so, going on, I'm like, oh, wow. I got this. I got to tell everybody about this. And I had this 250 Bitcoin, which currently, is $4,000 a Bitcoin. That's $1 million. I turned $200 into $1 million. That's awesome. I wish I would have put $2,000 in. That's why I was talking about earlier. I was like, if I would have put 10 grand in gold back then, it'd be worth $9,000 today. I would have lost $1,000 by putting it in gold, by following that advice. If I would have put $10,000 in Bitcoin, it'd be worth over $100 million today. So I'm handing out Bitcoins. You know about Bitcoin? You got to get a Bitcoin. I'm like following Roger Ver because he just hands out Bitcoins. I'm like, well, I guess I got to hand out Bitcoin too. So after about a year of me just handing out Bitcoin to people, I'm like, this isn't making me any money. I'm actually just giving all my money away. I used to give away full Bitcoins, a whole Bitcoin. Now I like a gasp, $4,000 a Bitcoin. Now I wish I would have given them 0.0000001 Bitcoin, Because today that will buy you a cup of coffee, but tomorrow it might buy you a car, right? So if we listen to what these billionaires are projecting. So for me, I was like, okay, how can I actually make money doing this? Because a lot of people out there They don't have money, right? They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're going to miss the Bitcoin revolution because they don't have any money to buy any Bitcoin. They're $4,000 of Bitcoin now. And so it's so frustrating for so many people out there. I know a lot of them that are really irritated and frustrated because they haven't set themselves up yet to make passive residual income, and they're doing that paycheck to paycheck, trading time for money thing. And so I wanted to create something that would help people be able to earn Bitcoin, not just buy Bitcoin. And 99% of the people out there that have Bitcoin either had to sell something for Bitcoin or they had to buy Bitcoin. Only 1% of the people get Bitcoin from its source. That's mining Bitcoin. That's processing the blockchain transactions. Now, how does this work? How do you get this distributed network of millions and millions of computers, the BitTorrent network? How do you get the BitTorrent network to run this Bitcoin software? Well, you have to give them free money. So all of us have laptop computers here, and all of us probably get on them and type, da-da-da-da, and then it's time for bed, and you close the laptop, and you jump in bed, and you go to sleep, and you wake up, you open up your laptop, da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, your laptop didn't make you any money while you were sleeping, right? Well, if you would have run the Bitcoin software on your laptop, right, da-da-da-da, time for bed, leave the laptop open, press a button, go to bed, come wake up the next morning, ba-dang, there's a bunch of Bitcoin on your laptop. So, I mean, why would you take the free money, right? So that's what happened is every 10 minutes, 50 Bitcoin was given away to the computers in the network. Every 10 minutes, 50 Bitcoins given away. So as you can imagine, everybody with a laptop's like, free money, might as well monetize my bandwidth, might as well donate my computer processing power and get free money to help secure the blockchain and track all the transactions that take place around the world to prevent double spends, right? And so millions and millions of computers started donating their computer processing power. I remember Adam came to Colorado. We did some Bitcoin shopping and had some fun experiences. That's when Bitcoin was less than $1. Remember, I spent 72 Bitcoins on it. Can't believe how much Bitcoin I spent. Adam was running for Congress, and I was like, Adam, come on out. Let's do fundraisers and yeah, exactly. You pocket the Bitcoin instead. So the point was, how do you donate all this? That's how you get everybody to run the software is by giving away free money. So they've pumped out now $70 billion of Bitcoin to people, to miners, to people that donate. $70 billion. It's the biggest computer network on Earth in terms of hashing power. It's 100 times bigger than Google. There's nothing on planet Earth bigger than the Bitcoin network in terms of computer processing power. That's what gives it value. All these computers all over the world, millions of them, make it impossible to hack the network. Because you have to hack 100 million computers all at the same time within 10 minutes, because every 10 minutes the block is hit and an algorithm changes, and it's impossible. So, as you can imagine, all this money is given away. Today, it's about $8.5 million is given away for free every single day to people that donate computer processing power to the Bitcoin network. Every day, $8.5 million is up for grabs. So I was thinking to myself, well, that sounds like a good way to make money. Why don't I just donate computer processing power and have machines work for me instead of me having to work? Like, wouldn't you guys rather have robots do your work for you instead of you having to work? And I was at that universal basic income thing, and I'm like, what's the matter with robots doing all the work? I'm not understanding what the problem is. Like, to me, you don't want to let the slaves go free because you're thinking, who's going to pick the cotton? No, of course, let the slaves go free. We'll figure it out, man. We're having robots do all the work for us. So, to me, I got really excited. So I was like, okay, if I donate a laptop, I kind of looked at it as kind of like how, you guys ever play roulette? I kind of like roulette. So I think in gambling terms, because this is kind of a gamble, right? So I put the roulette table here, and let's say that a laptop computer, you donate a laptop computer, it's like, 1 square. So the ball spins every 10 minutes. If it lands on your spot, you get the reward, boom, and that's how roulette works. Duh. So, but if you bet like 1 to 15 and you cover the spread and the ball's spinning every 10 seconds or every 10 minutes and that ball goes around and lands, if it lands on the 5, you win. If it lands on the 10, you win. If it lands on the 12, you win because you're covering the spread, right? So a laptop computer is like donating one little sliver, whereas setting up a data center covers the spread. You hit the jackpot more often. So I was thinking to myself, okay, why don't we just create a data center? and do this. I mean, you see Visa and MasterCard, American Express, they have these huge data centers. They fill the data centers with servers. They track billions of dollars in transactions every day. Millions of people use Visa, and every time that Visa card is swiped, Visa gets a 3% rake off the top. So Visa's making $100 million a day, right? So I thought, well, let's just copy Visa and do it with Bitcoin. So we set up a data center, and we filled it with our servers. And then the data center tracks all the Bitcoin transactions and secures the blockchain, and every day it makes us money. And then what we do is we disperse that Bitcoin in a daily dividend paid out to our investors who buy shares in the mining pool. So we started out with one little block box, right? And they're about $1.5 million. Not a lot of people have $1.5 million, but we figured we could crowdfund it, right? So we buy it, and then we sell it out with $500 shares, and then whatever the box generates is dispersed. In one box, we sell out the second box, to the fourth box, to the 10th box, to the 20th box. On and on it goes. Now we got over 20 boxes. And we've mined now over $250 million in Bitcoin. So then we were like, well, what are some of these other coins? Ethereum and Dash and Zcash and Monero. Why don't we mine those too? So we took part of the data center and filled it up with that equipment. It's been incredible. So now you just get all this money, and then you just put it on, you can just drag and drop the Bitcoin right onto a Visa card. You get a Zappo card or a Shift card or, a BitPay card. There's tons of them. And then you can just drag and drop the Bitcoin right to your card, and you just have this card that just never runs out of money. And then you just travel around the world if you want. That's what I like to do. So last year I did 241 cities. The year before we did 211 cities, 120 countries, basically trying to go everywhere and do everything. Some people don't like to travel. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can just take your card that never runs out of money and go spend it on something else if you want. Reinvest it if you want. So that's basically what I've been up to, and it's wonderful because Bitcoin is borderless. It doesn't recognize, it's like the honey badger of money. You guys all know this. And same with Nexus. And I'm excited to learn more about how we can help mine Nexus as well. Because it's a GPU mining. I mean, GPUs are easy. They're graphics cards. So we've basically been filling data centers with graphics cards. But what I've been wanting to do, now that this thing is running, it's like a well-oiled machine here, I want to bring free energy to the world because our biggest power bill, our biggest expense as a miner is our power bill. I mean, we're spending over $1 million a month on electricity. That's ridiculous. Why can't we come out with some magnetic motors or some, reactors that turn waste into energy, or big solar farms, or wind, or, the heat evaporators? I mean, there's so many cool things. So the last year and a half, 2 years, I've been circling around the world, finding all this cool free energy, if you will, over Unity type technologies that work on Earth. I mean, they're like Earth batteries, right? You have Tesla technology, learning about these battery banks and everything else that the powers that be don't want us to know about, right? And I really think that because of Bitcoin, I think it's going to finance the revolution. It's going to free humanity. Because when power is free, your food is free, your water is free. Everything else becomes free when your energy is free. And if you have a currency that works everywhere, I mean, think about the implications of the people around the world. I told Peter today in our discussion, if you've got a bank account already, and you got stock portfolio, you got real estate and titles and cars and all that, rule of law, right? If you have all that, you don't need Bitcoin. It's not for you. It's for the 2 billion people that can't even prove they exist living in the third world. They don't have birth certificates or driver's licenses or passports. They can't open bank accounts. There's 5 billion people that don't have bank accounts. They can't even own property. You go to Indonesia and you're like, hey, I want to buy this land. And, the guy's like, this is my field, to that tree, to the road, to the fence. This is my land. He doesn't have title to that. No one's going to run power to his land if they don't know who owns it, who's going to pay the power bill. So the guy's without electricity, without water, he's poor, he can't do business, he's been blocked. The banks have blacklisted their countries, and they blocked them. That's why we have a third world. If we can protect their identity with the blockchain, we can put their real estate up onto the blockchain, we can get them wallets like that in 30 seconds. They don't need IDs, they don't need passports to set up a Bitcoin wallet. Oh, can you open that? Thanks, man. You're the best. I got something for Peter Schiff, and for you guys too. I was wondering why I'm here, because I've been traveling doing these events. And I was in Europe this week. I was in San Francisco, flew to cut some deals for online gaming and casinos and stuff, and ATMs and remittance programs for Bitcoin in the Philippines, because they've moved $20 billion into the Philippines. And that's a huge problem that they're getting screwed on, and we can solve that with Bitcoin and the blockchain. So flew there. And then went to the Grand Prix in Singapore, and went over to see some friends in Doha, went to a blockchain thing in Kiev, went to Oktoberfest in Munich. And I was thinking, I'm going to fly from Munich to Aspen, and tomorrow, I'm going to fly from Aspen back to Munich. My wife's like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, why not? She's like, I don't want to fly across the Atlantic twice in a week. I said, my wife's still in Europe. She left me. So I'm sitting on the airplane thinking, what am I doing? Why am I going to Aspen? And then I was thinking on the airplane, I was like, you know what? It might be because I was so stubborn and I had a hard time admitting when I was wrong, that maybe my perspective might have an influence on Peter, because I was there. I was gold. I didn't understand Bitcoin or blockchain or any of this stuff. And to be able to have that discussion with him and give him the white paper, get him a wallet set up, to be able to like bring this. Does anyone have a knife? We need a knife. A gun will not work. Do not use a gun. But I was thinking, oh, thanks. There you go, bro. So wait till you see what I got shipped here. So I was thinking, why am I here? And does anyone know how long I'm supposed to even talk? How long is this?
2 minutes.
Oh, well, shit. Okay, so I'm here to show you this and then play a video, and then I'm off. So
How long is the video?
the video's 2 minutes.
And you have no time for anything else.
That's fine. But I want to show you guys what this data center looks like. And then if you guys have any interest in having machines that print money for you, you're welcome to join our club. We have 300,000 members in 90 countries. Camera guy, do you want to play the video that I sent the YouTube link? If you could, and maybe skip ahead the first minute so that we don't waste time watching what beautiful Iceland looks like. We set up our data center in Iceland where it's nice and cold. We basically plug our data center into a volcano. Yeah, there you go. Just press play right there.
So hey, we just got to Iceland.
Turn it
We're
up a
really
little.
excited. We invited about 200 of our friends to fly on out and come check out our data centers. We got a couple buses here. We're going to pack everyone in. Go check out the data center, the Bitcoin mine, where we process all these Bitcoin and blockchain transactions around the world. And then we're going to have a big lunch, and then we're going to head up the Blue Lagoon. So it should be a good day. Bitdrop! Bitdrop!
Hey guys, I'm G Live from Malaysia.
My name is Lori Warshaw. I live in San Diego, California.
My name is Mike. I'm from Calgary, Canada.
Well, my name is Joey Zervalakis. I am from tropical island on Guam.
Hey there, this is Kevin Tapino. I am in Reykjavik, Iceland. And what's going on is Bitcoin, baby.
To be honest with you, I'm super excited and fired up.
I am fortunate enough to be part of the Bit Club network, which means I mine Bitcoin.
Been living on Bitcoin since November 26, 2014.
You're either the needle or the thread.
Get on the bus!
We just had our tour to check out all of our equipment. We got lots of team members with us, and it's pretty exciting to actually see all the machines at work 24/7 right here in Iceland. So this is an ant miner. This is the S5. When we started, it was the S3s, the S5s, to the S7s, to the S9s. So this tech keeps getting faster and the chip's smaller and more efficient. I think this is the 28 nanometer chip. We now have 16 nanometer chips. And by the time you guys are watching this, we might even have like 10 nanometer chips. So it gets smaller, faster, more efficient, less electricity, and these things just crank away. There's thousands and thousands of these things in this data center here. And as you can see, you gotta have a fan because it creates a lot of heat. But this is basically it. This is a machine that prints money. Literally, this is a machine that prints money in the form of Bitcoin. It helps us process all the Bitcoin and blockchain transactions all around the world. It all happens here. We made it to the data center with about 200 people. We had 4 buses full, and the weather turned out to be pretty awesome. Great lunch, and everyone's so excited.
That's the
Iceland,
volcano.
I'd say, was a home run. Now it's off to New Hampshire to Porkfest.
There you go. You can kill it. Hey, so I brought silver Bitcoin coins For people that are on the fence, they like the gold and silver. They don't know about the Bitcoin. We got both. So I brought 500 of these. If anybody wants them, let me know. I'll be in the back. And they're the very, I don't know if you've ever seen any news stories about Bitcoin, but whenever they have what a Bitcoin looks like, it's always this coin. And that's what we created. And we've got some of them here now. So thanks for having me, guys. God bless you all. Cheers.
Good job, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Excellent.